Diary of an Early American Boy, Noah Blake, 1805. Chapter 1. That March dawn in the year 1805 seemed like any other dawn. Yet to Noah there was something different. Clearer and more crimson than a sunset, the morning sun blazed out of the east and struck the 4 small panes of his window as if they were its prime target. Glass was hard enough to come by in pioneer days, but these panes had special meaning. Made in faraway London, they had been Noah's 10th birthday gift from his mother and father 5 years ago. Before Noah's 10th birthday, the window had been covered with one pine slab that swung outward on leather hinges along the top. This made it possible to leave the window open all during warm weather except for the stormiest days. The rain fell away from the opening, running off the pine slab as if it were an awning. In the winter, the slab was closed upon a room that would have been totally dark except for the light of a candle. The 4 glass panes of Noah's window were unlike present-day glass. Noah's wonderful window, sliding inside shutter used before the time of window shades. And here are some leather hinges on a pine-shuttered open window and a bottle glass window. Being handmade, they were full of irregular ripples and bubbles that changed the appearance of everything viewed through them. The moon was a special treat, assuming almost every shape but its own whenever you moved the slightest bit. In even a slight breeze, the straightest trees wiggled and swayed as if they were blowing in a big storm. There was only one other glass window in the house, and that window had 6 panes in it. Those 6 panes in Noah's 4 made up the set of 10 pieces of glass, which was once the allowable limit in a house without a tax charge. Some people saved the glass tax by using oiled paper for their window panes, but that didn't let much light through. Others made their windows of rows and bottles cemented into window frames, though all too little light filtered through the greenish glass of the old bottles. The double thickness of rounded bottle glass, however, was good protection against arrows and even gunshot. Of course, you couldn't open a bottle glass window. Glass-paned windows were actually so rare in the early country houses that people often carried their windows with them from house to house wherever they moved. You often rented a house without benefit of glass. Few of us today can imagine how a simple glass window could bring such unending joy to a child. Curtains were almost unknown in the backcountry houses, but every window had its shutter. Some shutters closed at night from the outside, but Noah's shutter simply slid back and forth from the inside, a solid wooden slab. Noah's view of his window each morning was usually from his special doorway in the folds of his big patchwork quilt. Father and mother wore nightcaps like everyone else of that time, but since early childhood Noah had enjoyed making a blanket tent over his head and, like the cow in the barn, making his own breath and body heat keep the tent warm. At the foot of the bed, where tomorrow's clothing was folded and packed beside a stone bed warmer during winter, there was still a glow of warmth from last night's heat. But the piece of hot soapstone wrapped in a towel had about done its work for the night, and the coldness of forest dawn had begun to penetrate. The hearth of the fireplace in the big room, that space reserved by Noah's parents for morning dressing, was losing its heat fast. Except during winter weather, this was the moment when Noah usually grabbed his clothing from its place beneath the covers, tucked it all under his nightshirt, and bounded across the road into the barn before the coldness could catch up with him. Into the barn he would go and make Bessie the cow or Daniel the ox rise up and move away from their soft beds of hay. Then, standing in the warmed, flat spot, he would go about the business of dressing for the day. But today was a special sort of day. It was the 25th of March, not only Noah's birthday, but also the first day of the early American farming man's spring. The almanac calendar simply read, Monday the 25th, but to many farmers who kept the old European customs, it was New Year Day, so farm accounts and farm diaries were often started at that time. This day was to be marked by Noah's first entry in his new diary. The sunlight came through the window panes and fell upon the diary. It was bound in calf and wrapped once around with a leather thong just like Father's ledger book. Its pages were crisp and freshly made at the new paper mill in town. Alongside it was a little stone well of butternut ink that Noah had made himself and put there last night, ready for this special morning. Reaching out from his warm tent of blankets, Noah dipped a crow mill into the ink and held it poised for a moment, thinking. Then he wrote in a clear hand at the top of the first page, Noah Blake, my book, March the 25th, year of our Lord 1805, given to me by my father Isaac Blake and my mother Rachel upon the 15th year of my life. In keeping with the custom for drying ink, he sprinkled the wet writing with sand. After admiring the freshly sanded page with its first written message, Noah blew away the sand and closed the book. The first day's entry would go on the next page, and that would be added at bedtime by candlelight. Feeling beneath the covers for his clothing, he exploded out of his warm tent and headed for his springtime dressing room in the barn. Soft stone inkwell, bit, quill pen, slit, curve, homemade ink recipes, brown, boiled down walnut or butternut hulls that have been mashed first. Add vinegar and salt to boiling water to set. Black, add indigo or lamp black, soot. Blue, powdered indigo, 2 parts, 1 part mortar, 1 part bran. Mix with water, let stand, then strain it well.